get on here for about an hour or so. Got my mid-morning, afternoon running around done. Thank you guys that followed along this morning when I was doing the Nick response video. What I want to do right now is I'm going to go into doing some basing. Just kind of regain my thoughts, take a break from doing the miniatures themselves. I'm going to do some basing. You guys see right here, I kind of made me like a shrine type thing. And what I did is, right here is one of the banners that it's supposed to use. So what I did is I hung it up on a woe staff, try to keep it all kit related. I hung it up on a woe staff, come on. And then I put a banner on there. There's a little bitty skull right there. I added more of the SKAVEN bells on it. I added some skulls here just to give it. Right here would be like a worship chime or something. I built a little gong. You know, that way these guys pray to the Rat Lord or whatever the SKAVENs pray to. They can bang on this to give it like a sign to God or something. I still got to find a way to mount that up there. But what I wanted to do is to give it some, just give it some look. I wrote down, I went and Google imaged some of the SKAVEN symbols, and I want to paint these symbols on the bases of the miniatures. That way it kind of gives it some kind of look into the SKAVEN thing. So if you look there, when he's on the base in the miniature, it just looks like the ground is broken up. But if you look at it, it's actually a SKAVEN symbol. If you go up here and look, it's actually a SKAVEN symbol. And I'm going to do that across the ground on all of them. This one here would be one of another SKAVEN symbol that they have. It's usually like this though. And I just want to, you know, give it some SKAVEN look to it. You know, I've been adding litter for rock piles, some fish rocks for the warp stone. That's what some of these SKAVENs, they use it for energy. I made the comment this morning, it'd be like meth is to humans, that this warp stone is to the rats. What I want to do today, just to get a little break from doing the figures themselves, I think I'm just going to attack some of the bases. Just get some of the basing done and out of the way. Just to stay busy. I'm freezing down here today. I really do like this banner. I see Gilbert's with us today. Gilbert, I hand painted that banner, bud. Taking in some of the shadows, some of the washes, you know, try to make it look like a worn cloth. Did it even on the back side here. Guys, like I said, Gilbert is here with us during this session. He wasn't joining us yet this morning. Go over there, sub to Gilbert. He does a lot of live stuff on Facebook, but he does do videos here on YouTube, and he is a great teacher. He has some massive skills. Yeah, I really like the way this came out, Gilbert. So I got another banner here, Gilbert, that I'll do, and some more SKAVEN symbols at a later date. You can see how I manipulated it. I took the bells off, put a different set of skulls and stuff on it. I'm still able to modify this stuff just like a car kit, but it's giving me a break from everything else. And plus, with such frigid temperatures, I could still be modeling instead of having to wait until spring or summertime to do it. So basically, like I showed you guys in this morning's thing, Richard over at the Nerd Life, me and him had, you know, shared some ideas. Kind of why I hand drawed some of these symbols off the internet that I want to paint on the bases, and I am going to try to get my bases somewhat similar, so you guys can see that I wrote down black, brown base edges, and then the light brown the top of the bases. I also just used some shading on some of them. So we're just going to go through here, clean up this one, and work on some more. You guys feel free to talk amongst yourself. I just wanted to go live for a little bit and work. And then do some of these symbols. So I'm really enjoying Gilbert. Really have been enjoying these SKAVENs. And like I was saying today on Nick Beer's Get It Painted challenge video and response to miniatures, what started out as me wanting to just do a figure or two. I got a whole table full of miniatures. I got the 16 of the rats left. I got all the No Fear Space Marines to do. You got intersectors. You got I forgot what these guys were called. Here, these right here are plasma gunners. Just love the detail on this one, Gilbert. That's going to be a sweet gun. I seen a guy online take the clear tube, and he drilled out the gun hole right here, Gilbert, and then he made a clear tube maybe about this long, and whatever color he put with inside this charge ram here, about halfway through the clear stick, it's transparent right there, and then it gets really bright up here to make it look like it's actually shooting. I thought that was super cool. But man, these guns are loaded with detail, Gilbert. I can't wait to get into painting these. And then, like I was trying to show the guys earlier, how the captain is just full of detail too. Guys, Gilbert picked up some transparent paint from the green stuff. He was going through one of his latest videos was he was going through it, showing us the color shift, doing the color shift on different aspects. He's working on a big demon right now for Warhammer, and he's used the changing color paint, the prismatic paints, like around the bellies and in the wings. It's gonna look so cool. Yeah, the corn bloodthirster. These guys are about this big, and the bloodthirster, he's about, he won't even fit in the screen. He's pretty big. I need to get, I really do want to get me a bigger figure. I've been looking at the Flesh Eater's Court set, and it's got a big dragon in it with a bunch of zombies that are like these sizes, but then they also get another set of zombies that are about this big, and then it has a great big dragon. Alright, so let me see. Get some tools together, get my litter out. And I've been using, like I said, if you read the lore on these SKAVEN rats, they use the warp stone. So I got me a bunch of green fish rocks I want to put on all the bases. So right now, well, let's just go. We're going to use some chocolate brown, some German black brown, I mean, for some of the edging. Let's just get a bunch of disassemble a bunch of this stuff. Probably do a couple bases on. And I just got different size bases just to have a different variety of stuff to do. And with me, I'm pinning, like I said, I don't know if you guys have caught this. I'm not gluing my figures to their bases. What I do is I pin the foot, and that way it could stick in the cork. If at a later date, one day, you know, say I want to sell these off or trade them to a person that actually plays a SKAVEN army. I know they have certain rules in Warhammer that they have to be on a certain base. They can just save these bases for something else or trash them, I guess. So I can pull these on and off the base. Basically, it's just a piece of wood, what I use. Just a piece of quarter 16th inch or something like that wood, and I just glued the cork on it and then break it off. And then I take what I use is I have a body file. I have a body file like this right here, and you can see where the cork is in. It's kind of like a grater, and I just would go down the edges of it like that to give it some roughness. That way it's not completely straight. You guys can see the roughness, you know, make it look like a piece of ground was broken. Still trying to learn to dry brush. It's a symptom that I've had 2 or 3 different people show me or mention to me how to do it. It's just a matter of now practicing to get it to get it, if you know what I mean, you know. I know Josh over at Ramsden Design. If you guys don't follow his channel, go check him out. He just did a great big 3D print of the Terminator head, I think it is. That looks super cool. I see a lot of guys doing the resin bust of the blue guy from Guardian of the Galaxy. So there's a lot of neat stuff getting posted online right now. Oops. A lot of great encouragement going on right now. Yeah, Josh has been doing some great stuff, Dustin, over there. I came across a few websites where you can buy some files. I thought... Yeah, and I think what happens, Gilbert, what I think I'm doing wrong is I'm not letting the base dry fully before I try to attack. Before I start to attack them. I think that's what my main problem is. I get in a hurry. You guys can tell. I used Aggress Earthshade on this one, and then on this one here I used Athonian Camo Shade. I didn't know which one I liked best at first, but I liked the tanner. So I don't know. But I think I'm liking this one here a lot better. Let's see. I'll get the black brown going. Then I made up my own little paint tray, a wash bottle and everything right there. That way I have the exact brushes that I like to use for my miniatures all in one spot. Thanks, Dustin. Just I don't know. I don't like the some of the textured bases that we can buy aftermarket, or some of them are coming through the kit now. Um, they look good and everything, but you're subjected to what is on that base, or you're subjected to just having just kind of a bland, if you know what I mean. I've seen some greatly created bases. I'm going to get some Eldars. At another time. I like some of the Eldar things. Yeah. And I got a base from Gilbert, Dustin. A 3D printed base Gilbert sent me, but it's kind of like some old ruins, Egyptian ruin type thing. And what I want to do is get some Eldars and put on it. And then it's like Gilbert printed like some broken tile in there, and then a broken pillar, laid down. And what I'm going to do is, like, the elders come back to find some information back on the American or the human race of the 20th century, or I guess Romans and all that would have been the early years, but like they're coming back to get history so they can learn from the past. I want to get some Tyranids too. If you guys aren't familiar with the Games Workshop stuff, they're like a six-legged alien type thing. They got some gene stealers in there and stuff like that. That's what's called. I want to build some of them. Them look cool, and I want to use my alien bust with that. Yeah. Dustin, you can look up Warhammer Craft World, and what it is, they look like, if you ever watched the movie AI, where the aliens actually come back and pick up the android boy, and then they start talking to him. They found him frozen in ice, staring at the blue angel, and when they come back, they thawed him out, and they looked through all those images that he had through the life. Yeah. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. Like Warhammer has, in the Age of Sigmar stuff, they're going to have a lot of mythical type things, like the SKAVEN rats. They have lizard men, just all kinds of really cool stuff. Have a lot of just really neat stuff. Like the Bloodthirster that Gilbert is doing now, the whole clan of Khorne. It's some of it's mutated men, some of it looks like running devils. It's just full of all kinds of different beast looking thing. It's kind of a massive brutal chapter in Warhammer. There's some great reading too. Like I said, me and Gilbert, I know Gilbert don't play the game, but he's painted a lot of their figures and stuff. Just the stories on them, the reading the stories and stuff. If you like to read a good story or something, it helps pass the time, and it gives you some, inclination of what you're about to build. Like us car guys, we're building stuff based on a race car driver or certain spec of vehicle, and basically it just has a lot of stuff like that you can read and learn from. The Warhammer, now that I'm painting the Warhammer stuff, oh yeah, they're sick with details. Yeah, like Gilbert just stated, the books and stuff are a good read. If you're just bored one night, you get to see the same crap on TV over and over and over. So just pick you up a book and read a story. Lot of lore channels here on YouTube where the guys will just sit there for 25-30 minutes. Some of them are longer than that. And they'll tell you about the faction of whatnot, I like the fantasy more because it is an open range of, beasts, dragons, skeletons versus, I said fantasy, which would be the Age of Sigmar. But a lot of the 40K stuff is military stuff, military base, like they're all geared for a big massive war. So there's more weapons in there's more firing weapons in 40K, as to Age of Sigmar would be more melee, like in the Roman days and stuff like that, where it was more spells, whips, lead handled weapons and stuff. You better have your striking game up. Speaking of doing busting figures, you guys see the Hellboy that Dan Skittergood has been doing? He just showed his eyes on Facebook, man, and that thing is sick. Yeah. Yeah, now the Heresy Saga, that's pre-40K too, ain't it, Gilbert? Yeah, 30K, okay. I'm gonna need some more brown. Where did my brown go? What's the Chicago weather like, Gilbert? Here, it's like 3 degrees with the temperature, with the wind chill, pushing negative 25 Tuesday. And they canceled schools and all kinds of church and everything. Yeah. When's yeah. Yeah, same here, Gilbert. Same Missouri winter. When's Adepticon this year, Gilbert? Is it still in March? Yeah, no, we've only had one bout of snow, Gilbert. No ice yet, thank God. March, yeah. Be imagine how much the bases changed the look just by adding that little black trim. Still the same base, nothing done to the cork yet. Just looking at it with that black base just changes a lot. I've seen stuff on eBay. I've been wanting to get bits built up. And I look on eBay for like bit lots and stuff, or pre-owned. I see a lot of stuff on there that says pro painted that it don't look very good, guys. I'm not trying to knock anybody's work, but I think people use pro painted like the F word now. Just because it fits in the sentence doesn't mean it belongs there, you know what I mean? There's a guy, Gilbert, that sells a lot of built models, and his name is Paul Hatchett. And some of his models are just promo style, curbside, no motor, very few chassis detail, but the outsides are immaculate and beautiful. And some of his built stuff will go for $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 stuff, you know. And he's building stuff like a 71 Mercury Montero 100X. It's a full-blown resin kit. You know, there's never a model kit of it. Or 68 Country Squire LTD wagons, you know. Just off the wall, you know, no common kit stuff. And it brings huge money. And some of these other people think they can do the same thing by putting pro built on it. Hello, John. Oh, I'm no pro, Gilbert. I'm just a student with a little more classes under my belt than some of the other ones. And without help from gentlemen like you and your, you know, your phone calls and stuff, I would be so far behind in what I'm sharing today. John Sharpie would also be a one I would give great encouragement to, strength for my hobby. John, I really like that military vehicle you just finished too. That little thing looks sick. Yeah, John, here's what I've done so far. This guy right here, I did a lot of modification to these, John. Like I added a rat horn skull to it because they pray. The horned rat god. I hand painted that banner with some SKAVEN symbols. I've been putting SKAVEN symbols on their base. John, I'm using the green fish rocks for warpstone. Just to give it a little bit more. I try to put some of the facts from the Lord on there. I got a handful of stuff that I drew out, John, from doing some Google images. So I'm going to paint some of these symbols across the SKAVEN stuff. And I just try to make them my own, buddy. I added a rat horn skull to this guy's head. I twisted his hands, give him some blades like, you ain't touching my warpstone, and he's going to run through the crowd with 2 blades drawn. I've really been liking this riser rust with the typhus corrosion mixed together to get me a good looking rust look. Yeah, slowly, John. I'm slowly going to... Like, I thought about getting the plague furnace and doing it first. And then right here, I kind of modified this spiky weapon here. And with a lot of help with Gilbert on learning to do the bones. Talked to Gilbert a lot on the bones. Really liked this one here. Getting some great encouragement from Gilbert. Really like the way those bones turned out. Not really happy with my plague bearers and my poxwalker's bones. So I contacted Gilbert. We sat down on the phone for about 25-30 minutes maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he gave me a few tips, and so I slowed down and I did those. Much happier now. That's what's great with having a versatility of friends on the online that can help you with this stuff, you know. Just because you look at somebody's channel and it would be, oh well, you know, I'm not into doing you know, bust or whatnot. You know, I think the first thing I saw Gilbert do was when I first started YouTube a few years ago, his comment. So I went and looked at his channel. And back then, you know, when you only have 6, 7, 8 subscribers, it's easy to subscribe to somebody that subscribes to you. I didn't take a second look. I liked his comment, told him thank you for posting on my post, replied that I just subbed you. Then he gets a notification up, and, you know, I don't pay much attention to it at first. And then a second video goes up, and then I get invited to a syndicate show when those guys were doing them live. I seen the live thing up, so I got on there, started watching it, realized, see what everybody was doing, realized I'm already subscribed to Gilbert, and then I subscribed to Steve, and, you know, back then Hobbyman Mike was part of it, and Andreas and Stan before they went off and did their own thing. And I had known of Andreas through the car side, and then out of the blue, I mean, I hadn't watched Gilbert's channel maybe 3 or 4 full videos, and then it just clicked as like, you know what, he just did that miniature, that looks pretty neat. And then before you know it, my interest started growing, so I started watching it longer. Then I broke down and asked Gilbert if he had a Facebook page. He linked me up to his Facebook page. Then I asked him if I could call him. I had some questions, and since then, shit, it's been 4 years, Gilbert. 3-4 years we've been in contact and able to share with each other, you know. And at first, I thought the figures were cool. I thought the diorama stuff was cool. You know, it just, thinking something's cool and actually trying it are two different things, guys. And once I started trying it, I really did enjoy it. And even with the encouragement of Gilbert, he's not telling me run out there and buy the corn bloodthirster. He's like, find something small, work it out, see if it's something that you enjoy, and then you'll get better with each one. And I'm like, oh, I'll never, you know, this, that, and the other. And now here it is. I enjoy the figures. I don't have a stash of figures yet, but I have a collection of them. Oh, I'm so far behind the Dragon John. I'm just happy to be able to follow in the trail that his tail leads. I'd be like if you ever watch Shrek, when Donkey finds the dragon and he starts hollering, "Dragon!" That's oh. I like it where they're walking up to the castle. And he goes, "That's not brimstone. That didn't come off no stone neither." You know what else has layers? Parfaits. Everybody likes parfaits. With John's comment just now, I caught out of the corner of my eye. I have yet to try oils. I'm just now getting into actually knowing the washes and how they play effect. How actual washes. I used to, always say I black washed my grills or my wheels or something like that. But really now, after doing these minis, all I'm really doing is painting everything black and then wiping off the excess, realizing and learning that the wash is something way different than what I've known as black washing. And that was the term we had always used in the automotive side, as when you would, try to add detail to your grill or to your door jams and trunk jams. We'd always say we black washed it. Mr. Kirby, what's up, John? John, did you hear about the rack project? They asked me if I'll take part, and I told them I didn't know. John, I'd mentioned today in my morning video. Yeah, I tried to tell him that, but he says that we'll have, he says we would have Lee and Mike and someone else do it, Mike Dixon, but I don't think. John, what I'm going to say this morning in this morning's live video, I told everybody, man, I would love to build the Flesh Eater's Court. It's got a big dragon in it, and it's got some zombies and some other pretty cool stuff in there. Alright, that's all the bases, edges done. Now let's get out my big wash brush. Okay, let's move that. We'll move that for now. I say we do. I need to get more eyedroppers. Alright, let's do some. Yeah, it's a start collecting set, Gilbert. Now it's going to have it has 3 bigger zombies, it has 10 little zombies, and then it has a big dragon with it. Yeah. Yeah, I want to get the Tyrannid Sharpie. Gilbert gave me this. And I based it with this little wooden dowel. This is a big solid piece of resin. I drilled into him and then put him right here. And then what I would like to do is get the Tyrannids and have them like coming around this one this would be here, be like their big statue or whatnot. And then I like to build a display with him in the center, and then have a gang of the Tyranids running around him, or maybe one of the big ones with their feet on his head, like he's crawling over the statue. And this right here, you know, in Iraq. Yeah. You know, like in Iraq, they had Saddam Hussein, a huge statue of Saddam Hussein here, or Omar Gaddafi in, you know, in the South. And you know how we have our statues or bust of political figures or famous. This right here would be like their town square centerpiece, and then all the Tyranids just... Because I've seen some of them gene stealers. Some of the gene stealers look so cool. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he would love that, John. Alright. Like always, guys, I do more talking than working. So we're kind of behind the gun here. And then I usually just use my wash right out of the bucket. Yeah, that's, speaking of spare bits, Gilbert, that's one thing I've been wanting to hunt down, just so I can do more of my own, you know, useless conversions. I don't play the game. I know some of the conversions people do for the game is to enhance the player that they're taking into battle, but I want to do it for looks, you know. Inside some of the Warhammer magazines, they have these cool little skeletons walking around on feet, like it'd be just like a mechanical head looking thing, and I kind of want to build some of them. Then what I do is I'm just Axrath Earthshade, just the sides, and then we'll do something to the top later. I gotta let this wash dry. What I like is just how, like Gilbert said earlier, guys, when you can break this stuff up and you can create debris and what have you with the cork. And thus far, it's held all the paint that I put on it, all the washes, all the stuff I glued on top of it. It's very versatile. Depending upon where you get it from, I get 4 squares for like $3 from Hobby Lobby. They have rolls of thinner stuff. They have bigger squares. Heck, I've seen some guys use the cork coasters. They're a lot thinner than this. And I buy the thicker cork because, like I showed you, I pin my figure so that way they can be removed if need be, for a real game player if I should ever decide to get rid of these. Gilbert, you auctioned off the red ship thing that you painted for your daughter, right? Last year, Gilbert did this really cool, neat looking vehicle, and it was done for a raffle auction style thing. And you know, you never know. Some of us never get rid of what we work on, and some of us use what we work on to keep their hobby going, and that's the situation I'm in. I like to build them, have fun with them. I'll enjoy them whether I show them at a contest or just on Facebook or here on YouTube for, you know, however long, and then I usually put them up for sale or raffle them off. It creates a way for me to keep enjoying the hobby, doing the things I want. I really want to build that great unclean one that just came out too from Games Workshop, but you're looking at $140 beast of a kit there. But like Gilbert stated, the leftover parts, if you have the creative mind, you can either magnetize your figure, and that way you can use all the options that come with the kit, or you can build a Stagit model, and then with your leftover parts build a second or third version. You know, but you'd have to be able to sculpt a body to use those parts. We've got a lot of great talent in the community that can do it, but others choose not to do that, and you'll see the parts go to eBay, and sometimes they're just as expensive to buy a few parts than it would be to buy the whole damn kit. Right now, I've seen a lot of people building the Great Unclean one. I would just want him to go along with my Nurgle and Pokwalker Death Guard stuff that I've been enjoying. But I wouldn't play with him, and I'd probably, you know, do my own paint scheme on him. But there's some killer looking people building them. There's a channel called The Great JoJo, and he actually took a doll. A few years ago, he took a doll and made his own Great Unclean one out of it, and it was a pretty neat conversion. Hello, George. That Toyota this morning was looking really good. Yeah, Gilbert, he offers so much more than the Mortarion did, but at the same price, you know, and that's what I didn't know. Speaking of the SKAVEN stuff, Sharpie, I seen the Hellbrute, and it's got a bunch of little bitty tiny rats with it. I want to get those rats because the little rats that came with these plague monks are a little large, and I'm fine with them. But then I seen the smaller ones that came with the Hellbrute, and man, they are itty bitty tiny. They look perfect for these. I like how just with some... Yeah, I thought about that. Hey, George, the rebuild on those pictures that you sent me this afternoon. Thank you, bud. I thought I had everything packed well, but I'm glad that you could put that one back together. Guy George over there at Vision 124 is a very, very great photographer, super awesome friend. He plays a big part in the scaledworld.net and over here on my Mr. Mini Greens page. A really, really great friend to have around. More than generous with me. We've done quite a bit of stuff together over the years. His little club, the Diversified Scalers, they put on a show if you guys are up in around the New Jersey area. Just a really great friend. He supports everything I do over here, miniature, automotive, or whatnot. Just a very good friend, and he's also puts his life on the line. It's one thing to say you care about somebody, but to actually know somebody that on a day-to-day puts his life in danger for others. I really appreciate the friendship I have in a man like George. He's a firefighter up around the New Jersey area, and great to know the guy. Thanks, Roy. Alright, there's all the big squares. And it's just amazing just what the wash does in the base and painting that little wooden base at the bottom. I made me a box just to set still for a minute. My hand is cramping. Gilbert, I went and got me a whole, made me my own little base box. And so I got different pieces of wood, and like Gilbert was saying, the cork breaks up so well. You can make broken wall sceneries. Right here I've been cutting them out to make it look like brick. I've gotten ovals, I gotten big rounds, just for a bigger figure coming, like Gilbert was saying, he's looking for a base. So what I do is I get the cork, I get the cork in a big square sheet like this, and then I just break it up. I have me a bunch of broken up pieces that I can use for walls and whatnot. And this base here, I sanded the cork. You get, Roy, what I'm working on now is Games Workshop. You can go to Amazon, you can go to eBay if you don't have a direct tabletop gaming store. It's kind of what you would want to put into Google if you was trying to look for something close to home. What I'm working on today is, I can't find my dang SKAVEN box now. What we're working on today, oh, here it is right in front of me, are these SKAVEN rats, and I'm building bases for them. You can either type in Citadel Miniatures, you could go Warhammer, and when you go to Warhammer, there's this right here is the Age of Sigmar series, and or they have 40K. This box here is called the SKAVEN Pestilent Plague Monks. And then, to get you started, like if you bought this monk set today just to get started, Roy, on the back of it, it shows you to paint them the way this box does. It shows you just kind of like if we were in the model cars. If you were into the model cars stuff, when we open up our instructions, it tells you paints that are needed. Well, Citadel does this on the back of the box, so that way when you're there, the layer colors and the base colors are about $4. The flesh colors, the shade colors, they're $7.50, because a regular color, regular thing of paint from Citadel are this big. They're in these pots. But then the washes are bigger, so they mean more. Oh, that's Yandy.com, John. That's a negligee site. That's the other hobby I'm into with my beautiful, loving wife. She spoils me. So, you're going to have a little bit. You can look on eBay to get some cheaper things, but the best thing to do, Roy, is actually get into a tabletop gaming store and see what all they offer. Now the Warhammer kits are a little bit more expensive. If you don't know if you're gonna like figure painting or something, you can get into Reaper. This right here is the Dark Heaven Bones, but Reaper has a full line of different ones. These are already built. These are a plastic one. You don't, on these are kits. We can actually build these like model kits. They come on sprues and everything. But some of these Reapers don't. But they're cheap. I mean, you're looking at $3. You're looking at, you can pick you up a $3 figure and see if you'd even enjoy the time it takes to get one of these done. So when I say I bought these SKAVEN rats for $30, you get 20 of them. So you're paying a little bit over $1 a piece, for those. And it comes with tons of options in these Warhammer kits. You'd be surprised what you could do with them. I hope that helps. Yeah, go to Miniature Market. I can tell you on the Miniature Market, it has all different kinds of miniatures on there. They are some cheap ones. There's some ones that are regularly priced. Do yourself a favor and do shop around and see and get something that interests you. That way, these didn't interest me at first. I didn't want to go buy a military guy. I didn't want to buy a Space Marine, because that really wasn't my interest. My interest was the gory details and stuff of the Nurgles and these Pockwalkers, stuff like that. But after doing them, man, like I've picked up the rats. I want to pick up the Tyranids. There's just so many different factions and so many cool looking pieces out there, Roy. Go out there and check it out and see what all you can pick up and have fun with. You know what I mean? But I would recommend you grab something that grabs your interest. If you're into dragons, grab a dragon. If you're into, say, skulls or mythical beasts, then, pick something like that up. If you was a Chevrolet guy, you wouldn't go to the hobby shop and pick up a Volkswagen Beetle. You know what I'm saying? You want to grab something that's going to, hold your interest, at least long enough to give you the chance to complete it and to see if you really liked doing the miniature hobby. But on the bus though, John, what would you? I don't think the head and top of the shoulders would do like Gilbert's bust of the clown, of the circus ringleader thing he just did. That was all cool and all, just being the head and the top of his jacket, because it gave off some details and you could tell what the guy was to be. I would want the waist. I would want the waist up, at least the waist up. That way you get a weapon to detail. But yeah, have it big like the King Kong is that Paul got for his birthday. That King Kong bust, have something huge like that. That would be sick. A big Nurgle head. Dude, I would like to paint a 1/8 Nurgling. That would be beast. Now, I haven't done this yet myself, Gilbert or John. I've seen guys, you're talking about doing terrain and basing stuff like I'm doing now. Using coffee grind or tea bags. I haven't tried none of that yet. And another thing, Roy, if you're still watching, if you go to gamesworkshop.com, you can surf some of their kits. And if you have a store close enough to you, they'll ship it to that store for free. And then you can just go to the store and pick it up. But I would recommend you getting into a tabletop gaming store just so you could see the wide selection and the variety of different things that they have. I'm surprised I stayed in screen all day. All right, John, I read that. I still got back hair, buddy. I still got back hair. Oh, John, you cut me deep on that one, brother. Oh. Dustin, did you see the vehicle John just got done doing? I love that thing. Yeah. I was stretching the other day in the room, and my 14-year-old boy, he told me, pull down my shirt. And I said, why? He goes, because you got a fat belly covered in pubic hair. It's amazing how quick that boy's growing up. His mama bought him some new pants, and when they show up, he's already out. He already can't fit in them. We buy him stuff 1 month, and then the next month he's in that growth stage right now where he's sprouted again. Almost as tall as me already. Not my dad, but my wife's dad. He was tall. My son never got to meet him. He passed away when my wife was just 16. But he was tall, so I don't know if he'll take after him or not. But my dad, not very tall either. John, I pulled out my trumpeter LAVR, and to size it up next to some of these miniatures. Holy shit. I sized it up to some of the miniatures I have to see if maybe I can't use it as a war vehicle somehow, and it's pretty darn close, 1/35 scale. It's smaller than the damn Warhammer Rhinos and stuff like that, and they look more realistic, but they're not of the 40,000s, not in that age or that era stuff, so I don't know who would throw a big fit. But Pete at Mini Warzone, Pete Gooding, he took a Revell, I think it was a B-52 or something like that. He took a Revell plane and made it an Orc Flyer. It looked super boss. John, what time do the boys get home from school? My kids will be home in about 20 minutes. Is both Ethan and Elijah at school now? Hell, ever since you went to QA, I don't get to talk to you as much. Yeah, now with the orcs, anything works for them if they believe it will. I don't know if it's telepathy that they possess, but if they think it will work, it pretty much will work. I don't know how the guys pull it off, but they do. Okay, got all that done. Now, what do we... The sides are all done, guys. Now I need to do the tops. That's what I was saying when I made the chart based off what Tattoo Richard at the Nerd Life. I still call him Tattoo for You. I'm used to him before his business started. Eric, I plan on doing one soon. I really want to get back to my VW bucket here. I really want to get back to this. It's been so cold. I really can't spray outside. But I did get some work done on the motor, Eric. Got the turbo in. Got the V6 in there. And then just, going to... I got the lights installed. Come on, focus. I'd got the lights installed, and then I got, so I've been working a little bit, buddy. Just not able to use the colors that I want to finish it up. Got the rack in there, and I'll tell you what, man, to get the cracks in the roof this time, Eric, what I did is I put the red paint on really heavy, and then I just took a pin like this. I took this pin, Eric, and I stuck it in a pencil, and I started moving the paint around so I can get it to look like the paint was cracking. I didn't know of any other way to make it look like when the paint dries out and crack. And then how I did the sides here, I sprayed it with a clear coat with this matte clear, Eric. I sprayed this matte clear on it, and while the matte clear was still wet, when the matte clear was still wet, Eric, I went ahead and sprayed the red back over it real quick. I knew you had asked how to get the roughness back in there like it was, aged, and that's how I did it. Be careful though, Eric. You got to make sure you're doing it in thin layers, bud, or you're going to. You can see where I almost lost the molding right here. The molding imprinting. So what I hurried up and did is went and got my number 11 blade, and I hurried up and move the blade back over there, try to keep it all from running together. So you're going to have to be careful. Like I said, it was the first time for me to do that trick. It ended up working. It worked great where the black paint is around here too before I went to rust it. But it's tricky. You can see where some spots, like right here, you can see where I moved the blade. Where'd my pen go? You can see where it started to build up in that door jamb, and I hurried up and had to get my knife out. So it's a tricky step, but it'll work. But you're just gonna have to try it. You can see it's still built up. I didn't catch that until right now in this light. You can see where it's built up there. Damn it! In the right light, you can't see it, but I guess we got the camera light right. It is now. And then, like I said, Eric, when I first started this, Dremel the back side. When you go to do the rust work, Dremel this side of the body. You can see where I ate it all up. Dremel it here to where it starts to get clear, where it starts to get kind of see-through, and then use your knife to make the holes you want. That way you don't have gigantic holes, bud, and then you're not distorting the outside of the body. It actually looks like it's rusting because you do it from the inside out. That's how I even did up here. I went a little too far up here. Like, them are some big old holes. So what I'm going to do is put a piece of black. I'm going to put a piece of sheet styrene back there and make it look like it's a double panel and it rusted through just that first layer. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, with the way the temperature bottomed out here, it got when it gets back up to around 50 degrees all day, I'll be able to pull out my heater and my hot box. That's why I'm working on the figures now. But thanks for asking, bud. Yeah, I haven't built no cars yet since I finished the Sunny pickup truck. Damn, it's been a while since I've touched a car then. I tell you what, these figures are like hostages, man. They grabbed a hold of me and won't let me go. Alright, now I need the agra. No, I need the Serpentine Sepia. What do you guys like? Here's the Athonian Camel shade, and here's the Serpentine Sepia. I kind of like the sepia. I think I'm going to do... Let me do... You just do that, and then it will lighten up here in a minute. No, I probably won't do another video, guys, until next week sometime. My goal was to get 4 rats done a week, but then I wasn't paying attention to their bases. So when I finished that guy yesterday, I thought today I'd just get up and work on the bases. I forgot I had some running around to do, so I did a response video this morning, and then get down here about an hour ago to work on these. I used to stay up all night long and do the figures, but kind of a new medication they put me on. I kind of get tired, and my wife enjoys me going to bed at a decent time. So I ain't been working much on these like I used to, and plus it's cold. Maybe when the summer comes and she wants to relax and just chill, I can pull some of this stuff out now. But man, we've been watching some great TV shows at night together. We've been watching the 911. Finally got to sit down and we binge watched Stranger Things. I really liked that. That was pretty good. Can't wait to see what season 3 brings, but they're saying it won't come back until 2019 because of filming and stuff that they're still doing on the 3rd season. I had mentioned to him I would like to paint Dart. In season 2, the boys found an alien that actually came out of Will. Will coughed him out and he flies into a trash can, and then one of the other boys finds him in the trash can and try to keep him as a pet, and he grows. I would like to get him. I'd like to get Dart as he's growing. Like, looks like a tadpole at first, and then he looks like a frog still with a little bit of tail on it, and then he ends up looking like a dog, and then the face finally opens up and he's one of the beast. I think that would be cool to paint. Because Dart, now on Dart himself, he's not like the other beast. He's not like the other, man, he called him something. Now I can't think of what they actually were calling him. But he's got a yellow pattern on his hind leg, back quarter area, that makes Dart different from the other beast. And it's like Dart at first was going to remember who they were. There's a big chase and a big explosion type thing, and it's just really, it was a really good series. And L is crazy. So then the next thing we'll do to these after all this is dry, I'll give it a dry brush. Then we'll start adding on the warp stone and rock piles and stuff. So I gotta paint. I'm gonna have to paint the SKAVEN symbols I want on them and what have you. Like I said, I don't play the game. I'm just collecting them and painting them. So if a player ever did want these from me, he'd have to go back to the legal gaming bases. It's cool. 40K has a whole set of rules and everything, and you build your army based by rules and what's allowed and what weapon conversions you can do, and it's a whole neat strategy that these guys get in to play the game, instead of just buying a video game, sitting down and playing with your controller and trying to level up as you kill so many guys and collect so much stuff. Going to wargaming on the tabletop, you actually have to purchase your points to pull out a secret spell or secret weapon. You have to have your army has to be worth so much. Each player has its own battle wounds and and battle strategy, and what have you. So it's a large hobby. It's expensive. Oh my God, is this shit expensive? But like I said, if you are interested in them, I would say sit down and do it. Just to question yourself. I'd rather look at them than build them, or I'd rather play with them than paint them. I know several builders now after hanging out at the Games Workshop. They have something going on every day at my local Games Workshop, and I've gotten to meet some of the guys and ask my questions and stuff, and some of them just want to open up the box, build them, and go play with them, because they're playing them based on, like, see, I got that big captain right there. Well, if I just had the Space Marines, they have their own set of powers. But if you bring the captain with them, they get a new power. It's just the way they put their figures together to make the best army they have. And some of the guys have no interest in painting. They just want to build them and play with them, kind of like a Monopoly figure. You know how it's just a symbol. That they're moving around the board. They could care less. Man, if you guys get into doing these figures, Necromunda is a game by Games Workshop, and it has terrain, it has people, it has yes, I do, Eric. And when I sell my models, usually I'll give you a set price. I don't have to sell anything. But when I do sell them, usually I put the money back into my hobby. But say, like my friend Gilbert that's in here right now, Red Dragon Model Works, John Sharpie. John, if he gets tired of a model or two, most oftenly, they get in a fight with a lead hammer. And usually John's hammer wins. And some people get upset at John. I think it's kind of comical because John will do a picture of it. Last year, John had a set of tanks that just were, they had served their purpose to John's needs. And John put his big black boots on and he actually walked across them. And people on the internet went nuts. But for me, it's something that I use to keep my hobby going. So if I was to pull this custom built van out, it's an AMT kit. You could get it. The kit's not sold now. It's still on eBay. It was a reissue kit maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I cut it, made it into a truck. All this right here was custom made. I even put the gas filler neck from the gas door into the bed, French the tail lights, French the license plate, smooth bumper, made the doors inside and out, It's got a full-blown stereo system in there, seat belts. Steering wheel, all the tinted glass, the hood's actually hinged, the motor's wired, detailed, brake master cylinders detailed, electronic fan wired up. It's got a photo etch grill in it, custom made exhaust, and then the hood will shut, and all automotive paint. There's no decals on here. If I was to tell you that $300 for this, some people would flip out and think they could build it for $300. I don't need to sell it. You know what I mean? So if it's set here forever for $300, then it just sits here forever. But I've put models up for auction, for raffles, to do whatever, but usually the money goes back into my hobby. But some people can't afford what I ask for them, and then sometimes I'll sell them for $100, depending upon, my level of detail and what I have in them. So it just all depends upon what someone was looking for and what I'm ready to get rid of, I'm partial to some stuff, and other stuff can just, it can go. So if I posted this up for sale on Facebook for $300, and somebody says, well, I have a Johann Maverick and $100. I love the Johann Maverick, so I'd probably do the deal, you know what I mean? But it's mine. I can do what I want with it, I reckon. And so, yeah, I sell them. But it just depends upon the mood I'm in. If there's something I'm after. Sometimes you could post up stuff for sale and people have no interest in a green van truck. You know, whether it be built by me or just be a kit in general, you got to have a subject that somebody wants. You know what I mean? I wouldn't pay $300 for this if it wasn't something that I would desire to own, just to own something. You know what I mean? So you got to pick and choose. You know, all the pictures of this build is on Facebook in my albums. You know what I mean? So I publish a lot of my stuff so you can actually see where a lot of stuff would be built versus other people saying, I'm a pro builder, this is worth $300. Yeah, you know, I'm just a guy that builds, and I just happen to be lucky enough to be able to share what I do with you guys, and you guys support me by liking what I do. So to answer your question, Eric, yeah, I'll sell them, depending upon what I want to get rid of. Yeah. Yeah, now, you know, 15 years ago, we had a totally different hobby, Eric. You're coming into it now when everything has been overpriced, and, you know, you're going to buy some kits now that you built 15 years ago, but now it's triple the price, you know. So you're just going to have to be selective on what you want to build. If you're just getting back in the hobby, Eric, one thing I would recommend to you is get you a good set of paints that you know will last, and they have a color palette that will suit more than one need. My paint supply looks large. My wife says, what do I need with all these colors? But there's other gentlemen that have 600-700 colors. I know my friend Paul Britland, he has full lines of Minotaur, AP, Gilbert that's in the chat with us today, Eric. He has a full line of Minotaur, AP. See the Steinel Res stuff I have over there? Gilbert, like, I love this black. And Gilbert will buy the black in a bottle 4 times as tall as this because he loves using it so much. They have this, they have a 2-ounce size, and that's what this is. They have a 4-ounce side, and then they have a great big half, I think it's a half-liter size, because he uses it so often. And that's the way you're going to have to buy. I like the Vallejo stuff. It's water-based. It works well. I can thin it well. No fumes. And I've learned to work with it. I cannot spray it out of an airbrush, but I can hand paint with it, you know. And most of my colors, yeah, C250. Most of my colors are automotive colors and automotive clear coat when it comes to my model cars and their bodies. That's how they get so shiny. Gilbert, I still haven't used my ebony flesh yet. I can't wait to use that. I was going to paint some of my rats that darker color, but I haven't used it yet. Let's see. The kids will be home in a minute, but I wanted to do one emblem before they get home. This right here is the Steinel Res. And then what I do is I just get me a fine brush like this. See if you can't see that. Then I just get it loaded up with the paint. Then I'm going to do this. I want to do this emblem right here. So it's just something as simple as, I'll paint my arrow first. that. And go down like that. And just a few quick lines like that. And then, what do you guys... And then when I get my guy based, I'll put the stone and the gravel around it. And right there, you know, I kind of want to give each one a SKAVEN symbol. Yeah, Eric, don't go all out, bud. Don't go all out and try to restock your hobby all at once. Just get back into the mood of enjoying it and then start hunting stuff. We're just giving you suggestions and stuff. I would stay away from the tester's glue, you know, the orange tube glue. I don't care for none of that. I've been using this a lot. This Tamiya extra thin. You can buy it at Hobby Lobby if you have a Hobby Lobby close to you. It's been really great, really easy to use. Oh, hello, Underdog. I'm glad you joined me, brother, but I'm just about now get off. My kids are out of school, and I have to attend to them. What we was doing today was just doing some basing, and I was showing the guys how, since I'm painting the SKAVEN rats, I was painting SKAVEN emblems onto their base. And then that's all I was doing. What we did today, guys, if you don't know Underdog, you can go subscribe to his channel. He just made a Facebook page for like-minded, there you go, like-minded figure painters. Underdog has a great channel. He also has a great Facebook page, and there's a lot of experience within that page, and Underdog's always useful if you have a question or something. Look back at his past videos; he might already covered some other things. But the Facebook page is great because people can go in there and they have certain subjects that we'll talk about on a day-to-day or something like that. But I gotta go. Kids are knocking and screaming. I can hear the bus pulling up now. So check you guys later. Peace.